Well, Sheila Gunn Reid, from our Prime Minister to the Deputy Prime Minister, that would be Chrystia Freeland. She was in the Toronto area the other day, and she claims that one of her, quote, principal responsibilities, end quote, is to, quote, not pour fuel on the flames of inflation, end quote. I thought she already had a recipe for taking a stab at inflation. Aren't we all supposed to cancel our Disney Plus subscription? That'll make everything all right. Yeah.
Solved. Inflation gone. Just like that. It's gone.
Yeah.
Do we have a clip of that?
We sure do, Sheila. So let's see the
Perfect.
Deputy PM in her own words.
Inflation continues to be a real challenge for Canadians. Inflation and affordability. That means that Canadians are also facing the related challenge of high interest rates and of interest rates that have gone up at a historic pace. Taken together, inflation and high interest rates are really challenging for a lot of people. And that is one of the things I heard about today. That means that one of my government's principal responsibilities and one of my principal responsibilities is not to pour fuel on the flames of inflation. I think we all want to get past this as quickly as we can.
Sheila, your thoughts?
Or fuel on it. I mean, who can afford the cost of gasoline? You know, you could speed her up 50% and it would still sound a little bit slow. She always sounds like she's talking to a group of teenagers who've never filed taxes before, or people who don't understand why things cost the way they are. Canadians get why inflation is high, and it has a lot to do with out of control government spending, which she will not rein in. So when she says, I'm not going to pour fuel on the fire of inflation, okay, can you just stop spending out of control? Because that would help, but you're not. So what are you going to do then? Bail everybody out? Because that's going to make it worse.
Well, I don't know in your neck of the woods if you hear these radio ads. I assume they're on TV too, and probably the internet, but the public sector of Canada unions are basically making their case to Canadians to pressure the government to give them double-digit raises. It is outrageous. But I think if you are a member of the Liberal government, Sheila, they have allowed the bureaucracy to grow out of control. And
well, they need those votes.
Exactly.
They need those votes. So let it grow.
Exactly.
According to them, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Who do you think they're going to vote for? It's like the bureaucracy and the government are two sides of the same coin. But those radio ads are just so egregious when Canadians have been losing their jobs, their homes, their businesses. And these people, so many of whom are still working at home, even though they have a job descriptor that means they have to deal with the public, like at a Service Canada booth when someone needs their passport renewed. It's like that disco song from the 70s, More, More, More. I can't remember who sang that, but that was the name of the song. and that's their mantra. It's interesting. This was at, I think, another union hall. Both Chrystia Freeland and Justin Trudeau, their last several public appearances have been at unions, not public sector unions, but private sector unions like the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers. Can't believe they still have brotherhood in their name. When is that going to get changed? But in any event, it's quite incredible because it seems to me like if I'm Jagmeet Singh, I'm going, wait a minute, unions, that's our turf. But the Liberals are just going out on these missions to make sure that the private sector unionists vote for them. Although I will give Chrystia some credit. Unlike Justin, she didn't, roll up her sleeves to pretend she's down with the blue-collar workers.
The Liberals have a real problem on their hands with the blue-collar unions because at least out here in Alberta, the blue-collar unions, they don't vote for Rachel Notley. They don't vote for the Liberals, at least not the guys who are shoehorned into the union by the law. that doesn't permit them to not be part of the union. The trades here are pretty well, everybody's almost all conservative unless you work for the government. And even those people, many of those are conservatives too. So I think because of their anti-resource philosophy, the Liberals, they are losing the trades unions across the country, not just in the West, because they're starting to see the trickle down of the war on oil and gas.
Well, and that's the thing, Sheila. We last month went out to, I think it was a union representing carpenters. And I am absolutely sure that the first people in the first few rows are Liberal Party plants, because they're giving the Prime Minister a standing ovation. Because I'm saying, like, if I'm a carpenter, like, you're shutting down infrastructure projects across the country to virtue signal about climate change. That's hurting me and my job and my means to provide, funding for my family. And that means when I drive my fossil fuel van or truck to the pump, I'm paying more. Why would you applaud this guy who, doesn't even know how to use a hammer? And there is video online that proves that point. I'm not saying that as a joke, Sheila. So I'm just wondering, for the visuals, if the Trudeau camp rigs it so that all you see are these plants jumping up like trained seals to applaud the Prime Minister with a standing O whenever he says something.
Yeah, of course they are. They did the same thing in Calgary with their Stampede breakfast. They put it like way in the back somewhere, and then they only had, it was an open Stampede breakfast, but then they like hid it away where no one could get to. And if you wanted to get to it, they also tried to charge you with trespass. They're like, this is a riding association event that's supposed to be open to the public. So they do this all the time for optics when they know the optics are going to be bad. It's very carefully cultivated. They've perfected it when they make appearances here in the West. It's just interesting and kind of fun to see them have to do it in the rest of the country now too. That's a clip from something we call Rebel News Daily. It's our daily live stream hosted by my friend David Menzies, but the show also includes a rotating cast of hosts and special guests, including me. It's a great way for us to talk about the news of the day as the news is happening in an unscripted fashion, and it's an awesome way for you to interact with us as well. We stream every weekday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Mountain, wherever you find Rebel News. See you there.